next part of the watercolour paint section, we're going to use our burnt sienna to put on the burnt sienna pattern. So we are here below the riverbank on the left hand side. So we are going to look at the original here in the middle at the top below the riverbank. So there's that tree on this side of the bank. You've got a big one at the corner of the river. Second one comes straight down from the second one to this point here in the reflections. We're going to have 1, 2, 3. We're going to come down into this triangle area. 1, 2, 3. So we've got this kind of L shape, and that then moves across to the right. And then on the left hand side, where this triangle comes up and meets, we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice and neatly close together. Put an extra one in there. So we've got 4 in the corner, an L shape here. Now we're going to jump to the other bank. So where the tree trunks reflections come out, we've got this burnt sienna. So we're going to put a dot or 2 at the tops of each of those tree trunks. Small dots. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So again, I'm just dotting. There we go. So while that's still wet, I'm going to repeat the pattern, this time with my yellow ochre. So what we have are highlights. So in between the trees, this point, right in the middle, close to that original line. And then from this point we have shadow, highlight, shadow, highlight, shadow, highlight. So we have 1, 2, 3 here, apex, the bush, so we're following the curves. Right hand side. So this is where the riverbank reflection meets the river. 1, 2, jump, 1, 2, jump, 1, 2, jump, 1, 2. Okay. And that continues just beneath this hourglass tree. 1, 2, 3. That looks okay. It's just a blob of light in there. I think it might be the sun behind the trees. Just put a blob of ochre in there. Okay. So we will now have a fresh tissue. Greenish. Nice facets. Make it a little bit smaller. Now, the dots in between the trunks and on top of the mounds of the bank can be padded. So I'm just going to pad, keeping it quite small and keeping it close to those trees. So that's the area. Here the river bends around the corner. So we've just padded in the far bank. Now here we have shadow, highlight on the right shoulders. So along the top of the riverbank. We have lots of highlights. Yellows and ochres working together. Very, very pale greens. There we go. Okay, and pad in the bushes. So that is the top section. Now, when we get down into the water, instead of pad, we're actually going to be dragging left and right. Just focusing on the oak areas. Although we will pick up some of those burnt siennas. Okay, now the burnt siennas, I'm going to be padding my way along my tree trunks. Put those dots on. Just following the tree trunk. Spreading out. Okay. And now, with these areas, we're back to left and right. So we're dragging the paint left and right, keeping it nice and flat. Nice and broken. But always flat. And there we are at the water's edge. Okay. Oh, that very last bit, that point of light. Possibly the sun, a rather watery sun, peeking through the foliage there. Okay, so we have now got some flesh on the bones. We can still see some of the bones, but all of this is going to disappear as we work across with our oil pastels. So let's get rid of the tissue and let's get this thing dried off. I think just before we do some drying, I'm going to put a little bit of violet. We'll have a few dots of violet in this riverbank, in our reflections here and here, and tiny bits here and here. So it's quite an intense dark violet. So here in our riverbank, we want a pattern 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1. In our triangle, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here, 1, 2, 3, and here, 1, 2, 3. And we'll have 1, 2, 3 along the original line, right in the middle of the riverbank. Okay, now the foliage up here is closer to us, so it's more intense. So we'll have a little extra tops, and then we'll have a scattering of that rich violet. Okay, now let's get that padded in. So I'm going to use the blue one. So So here in the river, I'm going to be dragging left and right. Nice and broken. So it gives us more contrast and it brings those reflections forward. Here in the riverbank. Oh, pat, pat, pat. And same on this side. So I'm looking at Monet's riverbank, just looking at the shadowy area. So here, where the reflection meets the bushes of the bank, we've got a little shadow, and above the same, just working my way under those highlights and enriching and darkening that riverbank to bring it forward. And then we've got these curvy mounds, curvy mound, smaller curvy mound, and a very final one there. Okay, canopy, pad, pad, pad. Work those areas in. We want this area to be darker to make it come forward. Right, that is our basic fleshed out pattern. So we've done with the acrylics, we've done with the watercolours. Right, we'll give it a dry very quickly. It's quite a warm day and it shouldn't take too long to dry. So should do it. It's touch dry, a really nice texture, and our tough paper has stayed nice and wrinkle free mostly. Some blobs on my tree trunks. A little bit more dry in there. Yeah, so everything is now touch dry. Okay, now it's time for the final part. We're going to add the skin with our oil pastels. Okay, so our painting is dry. We can now move on to the oil pastel section. So we're going to be doing some scrumbling. By scrumbling we mean the oil pastel on its side. So we're going to snap off a little bit of the colour that we want. In this case it is number 55, pale green. So we're going to snap off a couple of centimetres from the end, peel the paper, and then we're going to start here in the top left hand corner with a very light scrumble, and in the clouds just a little hint, a little scrumble here, scrumble there. So with a nice broken patchy scrumble with our pale green. We're also going to add some pale green over here on the left. Again, just pressing lightly, top left hand corner, scrumble down to about halfway for this gap. A little bit more intense in panel number 2, especially here at the side of the tree. You can just use the opportunity to refine our tree trunks if anything naughty is sticking out. So again, I'm going to scribble all the way down to the bottom. Same in each of these panels, lightly scribbling. Killing the intensity of the tree trunks, and then just under the canopy with that pale green. Okay, what we have above we must have below in our reflections. So again, over here, little left, right. This time we're not scrumbling in any direction, we're only scrumbling left and right. Left and right, and then here, in between the reflections and the triangle shape, just a few highlights there. And then each of the panels, left, right, scrumble. Doesn't matter if we run over some of our tree trunks, we can re-establish those later as long as we know where they are. So we're just using that pale green all the way across into panel 2, but there's none in panel 1. Okay, so that's our pale green. And now we're going to switch to our very light purple. All right. So again, I'm looking at the discoloured areas of sky. So in this section above the cloud, running through and in between, cloud top left, cloud above the trees. So what I'm going to do is a little pattern of purple inflections throughout that area, which I'm going to blend with pale blue and then white, and then we're going to rub them together and smooth everything out. We can have on the right hand side a few little inflections of purple, and then here at the bottom, so we have a pale patch, a slightly more intense blue, just a hint of purple in between the trees number 1 and 2, a little bit, little scrumble. Just in between the trees at the very bottom. So we have a fork tree, we have a very central tree right in the middle. So here we have taller shape, goes both sides of the tree. So a central tree. Okay. Now again, we've got some above, so we must have some below. So starting here, just below the riverbank, where the triangle of the riverbank meets the reflections, we're going to have some side to side, nice and flat. Purple in here, in here. Some in here with the ochres. Some in here. We've got the reflections here of the taller bushes. Did those in purple, we're going to do them in pale blue as well. Just include a little bit of that pale purple, so as above, so below. And then we'll switch to the bottom right hand panel with a few nice flat horizontal scrumbles. Panel number 3. And a little bit of 4. There we go. Okay. We'll come back with our purple later. We'll be doing some stabby inflections. But while we've got our light purple, we're now going to pale down our tree trunks, which are just too intense at the moment. So I'm just going to be sketching my way up that tree trunk, a bit nice and thin. We're going to come back with a blue and blend the purple with the blue, especially to do the ears, the growths on the tree trunk. So that is tree number 1. Same again, tree number 2. Very lightly, just knocking out the intensity of that dark blue. Just as we come into this area underneath the canopy, it actually begins to go dark, so I'm going to leave that section. And then again, tree number 3. Just doing a quick sketch along the trunk. As I get to 3/4 of the way up, I'll stop, jump to the next tree, just following the trunk line. Tree has that sort of bend, kink out there. One, 2, 3, 4. Tree number 5, quite chunky. And now our trees begin to get paler. I've got purple in the middle, but actually at the bottom we've got our yellow ochres climbing up the trunk there. Okay. There's some pinks involved too. There's a bit of purple in the middle. tree, fork tree, just going to spread the feet of these trees with the purple. We'll be back with the ochre. Okay, so we've just re-established and calmed down the intensity of those tree trunks. And as I said, we'll be back to do some stabbies into the foliage and the riverbanks with that same light purple. Put that away for now. So we'll go back to pale blue. This time we're going to scramble through the blue sections. So we've got the pastel on its side, pushing it with our thumbs, shaping as we go. Working into those areas around the cloud and around the foliage. See, this is much too intense with the paint, so we're calming it down. We'll be back with the white to reshape till we want some little hints. Pale blue in here and in here. We'll leave the green at the top, but we'll use the pale blue for those distant tree shapes. Climbing up are in between those tree trunks at the bottom. The reason it's pale is because it's far away. That's that big shadow climbing up to 3/4 of the way up that tree. Let's just take it up a little higher. Okay. See that pattern there emerging just at the bottom of the trees in between the trunks. We've got those hints of bushes far away. Okay, and here we'll scramble in more of those bushes in between the trunks. Okay, and the first panel we can scramble all. Bringing it in to the edge of the tree trunk. So we've done panel 1, the whole thing, with the light blue. Panel 2, we've skipped this bottom section, jumped to about 1/3 of the way up. Scramble in between the trees there, up into the apple green. Okay, panel number 3, just a few scrambly hints in that section. Same again, tree 4. So we've got light above, light below, a little bit of discoloration in this section. Okay, again, we've got it in the top, so we must have it in the bottom. So we're going to switch now to the bottom left hand corner. I'm scrambling, but this time I'm scrambling only flat left and right. A bit in between our triangle and reflections. Again, only flat strokes. Nice and light. Coming across through each panel with a little left to right. And here 2. Then more discoloration on the left. Okay. Right. Pale blue away. And we'll switch to white. So, top left hand corner, I've got a white wavy line at the very edge of this cloud in the top left hand corner. So I'm going to press quite hard, give myself that wavy line. Okay, so I've just shaped the edge of that cloud. Now I'm going to go back to the side. I'm just going to scrumble over the cloud area. Come below, lightly scrumble. So I'm working the blue area here, through the gap in the clouds here. Scrumble over everything. All those purples and sky blues on top of our medium blue base. Now, once I get to the cloud, I'm going to press a little harder. I'm going to be shaping as I go. So I'm pressing down with my thumb. A little bit more intensely. Looking at my cloud shapes. Bringing it right down to the tree line. Wherever I can see the white of the cloud, pressing much harder. Okay. Underneath the canopy, above the distant trees there, we've got 2 patches of white. Left and on the right. Again, just scrumbling in. Same here. Little highlights. I've actually got more purple here at the bottom. That bush line will need some attention. And here, where we have that hourglass tree. So I'm blending that pale green, working my way around these shadows in the distance. Just blending the pale green, making it paler. So I can only get my pastel in lengthways. Keeping my tree trunks a little neat. Pressing hard below this patch and pressing hard above, but leaving that patch. Okay. And then panel number 2. There's a little more white in that. Okay. So I've done above. Come down here. So this is actually going to get a little darker. We can just blend in the purples and blues a little more because they are very pale because they're far away. Okay. And we are back to our reflections. So bottom left hand corner. Again, horizontals. Just a little reflection of cloud here. A little extra there. So beneath the first tree, just to the right of it, we have a very pale patch. A little more in the next panel. So again, keeping those strokes flat. We will come back and re-establish the shadows. And then we're into panel number 2. Okay. Right. So right away. So now we're going to work in the sky, which is quite textured. Even in the original it's pretty textured, but there aren't contrasts to this level. So I'm going to be using my thumb just to stab those indentations out. To keep an eye on my clouds. Using my thumb to smooth as I go. Following the shapes in the original. So I'll bring this scrubbed blue right up to the edge of this cloud edging to highlight. Stabbing with my thumb, smoothing as I go. It's taking out those areas of big contrast. Okay. Just soften the edges of those clouds, and we get a much more uniform patination. There we go. Don't need to worry too much bringing the clouds below the height of the trees, because we're going to be putting the trees back on. Now within this area, let's just put our light green, smoothing thumb. There we go. So it goes green, white, and into the blue. Now within these clouds we also have some cloud and shadow. For that we are going to use number 19, green grey. So I'm going to snap a little bit off, just about a centimetre. Again, I'm looking at the clouds in the original painting. Up here, tree 7, we've got a little bit of discoloration. So I'm just going to scrumble in a shadow. Wherever I can see some discoloration in the clouds on the original, I'm transferring it to my picture. So I've just followed the pattern of discoloured clouds. Get rid of that. back to my thumb, and all I want to do is smooth that in. Thinking all the time, what do clouds look like? High up, ephemeral. Hardly any pure white on it at all. Nice patchy cloud action. Okay, top corner again. Okay. Now the last thing we have to do with the sky here is rework with the white to give our clouds a little more solid form. So back in top left corner again, just going to press quite hard, give these clouds a little bit of extra form. So Monet's painted the skies very scrubby. Now, stabbing our way, little clusters. And here we have the most intense patch of light. Okay. There are a few other colours hiding in there.